welcome to the Intergenerational Contract at Work and Work in Industry 4.0 panel session at the Social Enterprise Summit. My name is Irene Chu. I'm a partner at KPMG. I will be the moderator for the next an hour and a half session. And let me quickly introduce our speakers for this panel session. Next to me is Karen Fong. She's the general manager and Innopreneur and Future Skills at Hong Kong Productivity Council. Thank you, Karen. And then also next to Karen is Ivan Wong. Ivan Wong is the industry lead for education at Microsoft in Hong Kong. And we also have two speakers joining us outside of Hong Kong. Jamie Ko, she is the director and regional public affairs and policy at Grab. Hi, Jamie. Nice to meet you online.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you. She's joining us from Singapore. And then Yaman Xu. Hi, Yaman. He is the leader for Greater China Urban Transformation Platform at the World Economic Forum. So we have a very interesting and also esteemed panelist with a lot of experience on the topic about future of work. So, and before I start with the sessions, and I want to just give a bit of a background of this topic, and then we'll move on to individual speakers sharing their thoughts and an idea on this topic, and then we will move on to the panel discussion. So sitting in Hong Kong and looking at in Greater China and also in Asia, we have, looking at the age of Industry 4.0 and how smart technology, connected devices are actually interacting and also affecting the way we do business and also how we live our lives. We're so driven by digital technology around us. And a lot of the time, actually, without you knowing it, behind all these technology, there's smart solutions and also AI are actually driving decisions. And whether it's in personal life, but also in industry and businesses. And it actually also, at the same time, the World Economic Forum, and since Yaman is here, is that the World Economic Forum has estimated that the rapid adoption of AI in various sectors could affect and interrupt about 85 million traditional jobs around the world. And it could be replaced by robotics or any change of roles. So whatever that you're currently doing, because of technology, could be dramatically changed. And sitting in Hong Kong, we also have been tested, I would say Hong Kong, but also globally, but in Asia especially, is we are tested by many different challenges. Whether it's about the pandemic, although we are slowly, gradually emerging from the pandemic, but economically and geopolitical tensions, a lot of this are also create pressure on how can we actually sort of overcome some of these challenges and what kind of changes actually we need to embrace. And in business world, questions are being asked also by people who are at work is, what is the purpose of my work and how can I do better and in this challenging environment? And I think employer and businesses also need to respond to the demand and expectation and changing expectation from employees. So, and a lot of them will start asking, what would the future of job security look like? How do you measure productivity when the mode of working also has changed? So in the session, we want to just spend time hearing from our panel speakers about the nature and impact of Industry 4.0 technologies, how they're affecting businesses, and how they're affecting employment and people's skills, especially in Asia. We have a strong it's a strong hub for a lot of young people and young talents. I'm sure they are very interested about the kind of skills they need to have in order to capture opportunity and also be able to succeed. So I think that's the backdrop of our discussion today. So So without further ado, I'd like to pass to Yaman, who's from the World Economic Forum, to just give his thoughts on, sort of give us a bit of background of what you do and also your initial views about this topic. Thank you, Yaman.
Thank you, Irene. Hi, everyone. I can share my screen and share something about what we do and what I do. Okay. So firstly, thank you for the invitation. I think this topic is really important. And with all the participants, we can figure out what we can do in the future, what we can do to suggest a kind of comments for the young peoples, right, in the future job market. So here is our founder and Professor Schwab. Okay, so this world is changing a lot recently. Geopolitical conflict and decoupling, COVID-19, so on. So we're now in uncertainty, right? So what we do is that we need to cooperate with the worldwide key stakeholders, including government, also social associations, and also the business leaders and experts all around the world to shape the future of the world. So that's what we do. As a forum is international organizations for the public-private collaboration for over 50 years. So our approach is that this is a big impact platform that including a lot of leaders from the world. Every winter we'll go to our annual meeting. The more famous name is the Davos, right? So that's the stage for the top leaders to share their visions, challenges, and call for action for the future cooperation. So here a lot of key stakeholders from different domains are our guests, our partners, and that is the impact platform means. So also after the Davos, what we do is that we will have different platforms, different sectors, different experts in different domains, and we focus on the key issues in different sectors, right? For example, for the nature and climate changes, for the digital economics, for the urban transformations, for the energy, and also materials, so on. So that is the global platform we have. So I'm based in Beijing. So what we do is that I'm lead in Greater China in urban transformation platform. We have a global network. And what I do is that cooperate with bigger China, Greater China government, business leaders, and also NGOs to working on the future urban development. So digitalization, green and sustainability, aging society, and also net zero carbon. That's all my topic. And we are closely working with the regional leaders, but also bring the bridge between China and also the world. So that's my job. So here are some yearly long journey, and we have different meetings. Actually, every year we have more than 500 meetings all over the world. So the biggest two will be an annual meeting in winter in Davos, and also maybe another part very important familiar for you is that the summer Davos that will be held in China every summer. So that's it. During the COVID, we just bring some meetings online. So a lot of leaders, including China, including other nations, have their speeches online. And this year we have our on-site meeting, and next year we'll continue the tradition. So we hope that world will be gathering together to pave the future way of the sustainable development for the Earth. Yeah. So yeah, I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yaman. Let's turn to Jamie. If you can also share a bit about your role and graph, and also, initial thoughts on future work.
Thanks so much, Irene. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie. I currently head the Regional Public Affairs team here at Grab. And what we do at the Public Affairs team, we look into public policy topics relating to technology and its impact in the region. and we work with our country teams to build partnerships with government to support national policies. We also engage in discussions with different stakeholders on policy development, so we can see how to harness the potential of technology to create impact in society. So thank you so much to the Social Enterprise Summit for inviting me to join this discussion on the future of work. I'm going to just share my screen if you give me a second. Give me a minute. Yeah. Can you see the screen right now?
Not yet. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So then I'm just going to do a quick sharing. 3 things I'm going to share about today. Firstly, a quick introduction of Grab, because I think some of you may not be familiar with the company, and quickly sharing some topics on what we see on the future of work. And I think finally, because Grab's business model is quite unique in that we do enable the gig economy. So I wanted to share a bit of perspectives of what sustainable gig economy looks like in terms of how we're trying to build that. So quickly on Grab, Grab is Southeast Asia's leading super app, and the company's mission is to drive Southeast Asia forward by creating economic empowerment for everyone. So as a super app, we provide consumers with everyday services and have operations in 8 countries around the region. The services we provide include mobility, deliveries, financial services, and enterprise and new initiatives. Just to give a bit of a sense of the impact we're trying to grow in the region, we have many users transacting on the platform, which in turn provides earning opportunities for merchant partners and driver and delivery partners to earn through Grab's digital platform. And among this ecosystem of partners we serve, we're very proud that we get the chance to provide opportunities for small merchants, as well as persons with disabilities, to make an income where traditionally it's not necessarily as easy as for them to participate in the digital economy. So if I quickly switch gears to explain our view on broadly the future of work and its impact in Southeast Asia, there are 3 aspects I'd like to highlight. First thing is the nature of work. I think what we notice is that digital platforms have created new digital work opportunities in Southeast Asia, especially. 7 in 10 Southeast Asians are now using such digital platforms, and 1 in 5 micro SMEs are now able to leverage them to scale their business. So this trend has really helped bring many people into the digital economy for work opportunities, especially in Southeast Asia when you consider that over 70% of all work was informal to start with. So this is really driving change in people like street vendors, daily wage earners to be able to participate in the gig economy. Second thing is we see that, of course, there's a greater use of technology, like Irene said, such as AI or robots, and this is going to change the nature of work that's going to be done by people. There will, of course, be a need for hard digital skills like programming that will skyrocket. But we also foresee that there will be new skills required in the future that we don't know yet about. There's actually been a prediction that up to 85% of the jobs that we will see in 10 years' time do not exist today yet. So that's something we need to get ready for. However, the demand will also rise significantly for soft skills such as leadership and people management, things that are less replaceable by technology. So that's the nature of work. And in the workplace, we see 2 different aspects to highlight. One is the rise in digital nomadism. The physical workplace is less relevant today. I think a lot of it driven by the experience in COVID, where the pandemic enhanced the need for remote work and people realizing that you don't actually always have to be on site to do the work. And this has given rise to digital nomadism, and people are able to complete work in a location-independent manner. And in Southeast Asia, the region does benefit because as a tropical region, there are people coming into the region and also benefiting local communities when they decide to set up their work location there. So countries like Thailand and Indonesia are offering visas to attract international remote workers to this region. The other one is on global outsourcing, which we know has been an ongoing trend. This will continue to create new work opportunities for Southeast Asians. I think countries in Southeast Asia like the Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam are emerging as ideal outsourcing destinations for global companies. So that's changes in the workplace. And finally, in terms of the workforce, we see that workers' priorities are shifting, and there's greater emphasis on flexibility and fragmentation as the new norm across all skills levels and types of work. I think we noticed that there was a lot of burnout from the pandemic, the Great Resignation, people seeking more autonomy and flexibility among different types of work. At the same time, there's also a rise in this multi-earner mentality, where people are starting to generate multiple income streams through different informal gigs, monetizing content on platforms like YouTube and other social media, people taking up delivery gig work on platforms, people also trying to hustle and build a startup all at the same time. So this is becoming a bit more mainstream and the norm. And finally, I think we notice a trend about how workers are less likely to stay with one employer and work their way up the ranks. Instead, they are actively seeking out new opportunities and jumping across jobs more quickly. So even in Southeast Asia, where it's more traditional context, job hopping is a bit more common now, where 60% of employees surveyed in the region were likely to accept a better job opportunity elsewhere while having been in their current role for under a year. So this was a study done in the region. So this is really signaling a different trend. So with this broad direction of the future of work, I think we see how different stakeholders have to sort of deal with this. I think governments will need to work across sectors to promote the uptake of new in-demand skills, because these skills are going to be new that we learn about as they come along in the coming years. Policymakers will also need to think of how to decouple worker benefits from the place of work, especially when people don't only have one place of work in future, but have many and they keep moving. Companies will also then need to think of how to make their work and culture more attractive, because people are not really going to stay a very long time and only be committed to one. And finally, workers also need to be more agile and nimble in navigating these changes and take on a lifelong learning mentality, because what you learn today may not be relevant in 10 years' time. So that's broadly on future of work. And I wanted to highlight a little bit more and share a bit more about the gig economy aspect, which is quite unique to our business. As part of Grab's digital platform, we facilitate a large network of driver and delivery partners, almost 5 million across Southeast Asia, to take up work in the gig economy. Here are some stats of driver and delivery partners. This is just in Thailand, which was shared in an event. You can see the demographic mix is quite widespread, where people across different age groups and segments do take up earning opportunities on a digital platform. Just to give a sense of where they may come from, we did a survey, and one of the stats highlighted was that 46% of partners who are currently accessing work on Grab's platform were previously jobless or had no employment prior to accessing work on the platform. So this is really a different way where they get to access income opportunities. And because this is an important and new way of work, we find it's important to ensure that this kind of work can be sustainable for those who choose to take it up. As such, we've established a set of principles to guide what building a sustainable gig economy looks like. This actually guides the way we develop programs to work along with our partners. So quickly to highlight the 4 principles of what sustainable gig work looks like. First thing is flexibility. That's actually a big reason of why people are moving into this sector. How do we maintain this flexibility for them? Second thing is professional development. I think important to see how we can help gig workers build skills, progress in their career, and access other work options when they desire and want to do so. So we partner with organizations and governments to help them access the right causes, resources to that. In terms of financial security, I think most people do work to make an income. And so the question is how to help them be able to make sustainable earnings. At the same time, other aspects of financial security include having access to the right insurance coverage, being able to save for longer term needs as well. Those are things we also think about how to then support the partners on. And finally, fair work conditions, which is to ensure that all kinds of work, even gig work, has fair conditions, like work is safe, work is inclusive, the work they take out is transparent in the sense that they know what they're getting themselves into if they decide to take it up. And finally, that they have the right support and channels in case they have feedback, they face issues, they are also able to access that. So these are 4 principles that we work with to develop the programs. And looking ahead, it's going to be my last slide. It's just sharing about how we expect continuous regulatory developments around these new forms of work. And this is important because as we prepare our societies for changes in the future, all forms of work needs to be good work. And so we really support that. And a few aspects of reflections as we've been looking at this topic as a Grab is that how it's a complex issue with huge diversity in terms of the needs and motivations of people taking up such work. And the local context also matters when you're setting policy, because even in Southeast Asia, we're observing how countries are in different stages of economic development, labor market conditions are very different. So when you set policies, how do you make sure it's right for your market? Issues also need to be jointly owned by multi-stakeholders, the workers, consumers, governments, platforms. Everybody has to play a role to come together. And while we talk about how there's always a lot of areas for improvement, I think it's great to also recognize how much we've progressed with technology, because in the past, informal work was really a lot less structured and less able to support the informal workers, but we've made progress. And as we continue to make progress when there's innovation in future of work, how do we not force fit traditional employment structures as the sector is innovating? Because although we can align on an outcome to achieve, we want to leverage the sector to innovate ways to be able to meet those principles. And finally, this is a marketplace where all the stakeholders need to work together to find the right balance to make this sustainable. So that's the end of my sharing. Sorry, it took a little bit longer than the others. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. No, we're very good on time. So thank you for that sharing in that very concise and also very insightful. So let me turn to Ivan. And again, some introduction and then tell us your thoughts on future of work.
Absolutely. Thanks, Irene. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending and thank you for spending the time with us as well. My name is Ivan. I head up the education team at Microsoft Hong Kong. To start with a bit of personal background, I used to be with the social media LinkedIn, which is a great observer of the future of work as well. So I spent 5 years over there trying to, dig deeper into what's actually changing in the workplace. And the experience and the time spent there also motivate me to actually move to the parent company of LinkedIn, which is Microsoft now, to sort of, really try to see how technologies can influence the world, as well as to achieve, the intergenerational contract at work in Industry 4.0, which is the topic of the day. I'm not going into the details of introducing Microsoft, because I believe it's a company or a brand that most of us will be aware of. So I'm going to spend more time on, our thoughts and our observation on how these Industry 4.0 technologies are impacting business decisions, including our own business decisions, as well as how we are also bringing these technologies into the market to influence others' business decisions. And as well as, we'll go into a bit of details about with these changes, with these things, right? How's the future of work and social security looks like, which I believe would be an interest to a lot of individuals as well. And to end with it, right, I will try to look into how we can achieve an equilibrium of the intergenerational contract at work as well. So Industry 4.0 technology covers a lot. All right. So it covers a lot. It could go into a lot of details, but today I would like to put more focus on AI, artificial intelligence. Irene started with mentioning AI as well, because after all, in the Industry 4.0 technology concept, what we want to achieve is, what we're trying to see or expecting to see is more and more automation. And AI plays a very key role within it. The reason that I highlight AI is because this is also one of the most controversial technologies that when we hear about that, we are excited about what it can bring to us, but we are also coming with a bit of fear of being replaced. But I think such a controversy in Hong Kong is sort of getting better now, especially if we look into the policy address of the government this year. AI is actually being recommended as a curriculum components to every secondary schools moving forward. So we have been seeing good adoptions of such a concept or such a technology in Hong Kong locally, because there are lots of things that we're doing behind to make sure that, when we believe in AI, when we bring AI to business decisions, when we bring AI to our clients, to the communities, it's in a responsible way, so that people are starting to see the good out of such a thing. But of course, we need to be very cautious about the negative impact of such a technology involvement as well. And to us, by day, we define AI as a technology that can perceive, learn, and reason to extend the capabilities of people and organizations. And I would like to highlight the word extend. It's not trying to replace you, but really trying to activate or to allow you to go beyond. So I'm not sure about what AI means to you, but to us, AI is actually here because of a few breakthroughs that we have seen over the past years, right? The three key breakthroughs that we have seen allowing the AI that we're seeing today. By saying allowing the AI that we are seeing today, I'm sure that every one of us would have some experience of it. And in certain contexts, you might not be aware of it being AI. But if you look deeper into your daily life, if you're a person who are on the internet, if you go out on the street, right, there are lots of things that are actually being enabled and empowered by such a technology. So AI was made possible because of the advancements that we are doing, we have achieved in collecting and analyzing data. And the algorithm that we have developed and the power beyond these algorithms, as well as the popularity and scalability that was enhanced with cloud computing advancements. So these are some of the breakthroughs that we have seen leading to the AI that we're seeing in the market or in the world, in the society today. So when it comes to my first question about how, Industry 4.0 technology, especially AI, is actually impacting business decisions within ourselves, as well as in the community, right? So we think that with AI, with such a technology, 4 things are made easier for us: digital transformations, responsible innovations, addressing skills gaps and employabilities, as well as solving some society challenges. So these are the concepts in every single decision when we think about incorporating AI into our own product innovations, our own decision making, or when we go out to the market, educating our clients, talking to the community about how they should be leveraging AI. These are the 4 core areas and pillars that we bring to them as well. So if I might go into, since today is a session for the social enterprise forum, right? If I may go into detail about how we are using them to solve some society challenges or within our own business decision-making procedures, right? So these are the 5 key areas. I'm not going into them one by one, but personally, I reason the most with AI for accessibility and addressing disabilities. As an individual, right, like what I was mentioning in the beginning, I look after the education team at Microsoft Hong Kong. So which means every single student in Hong Kong is a stakeholder of my team. We try to create an environment that is the most friendly to all people. But we all know that people come in with different level of learning, they're empowered, they're differently enabled and empowered. So the learning need could be very diverse. And in the past, without AI, without these Industry 4.0 technology, right, we are not in the positions to personalize learning experience for every single individuals, right? We use the same format that can cater to most people. We use the same material that most people will understand. And there will always be a group of individuals who are sort of isolated from these resources or these teaching experience. So with AI, things are different, right? So this goes back to how these Industry 4.0 technologies are impacting our own business decisions when it comes to product innovations. So now, when we look into developing products for the education community, for students, for teachers, right, we consider a lot of things. And these things are only made possible because of these Industry 4.0 technologies. So a few examples to highlight. With AI, we are able to, create individual curriculums based on individuals' learning pace, right? We're able to recommending them content, recommending them the relevant resources for them to, keep up with the pace. We're able to support students in achieving personalized learning. A very easy example, right? So we have recently launched a tool called Reading Coach, Reading Progress. It's a tool within the Microsoft Teams, which is a learning instance or internal collaboration instance for a lot of organizations and schools. So in the past, when you were having any kind of language classes, right, the way that the teacher practiced speaking skills with students would just be, at least at my age, in my times, right, would just be pointing at a random students, perhaps asking them to, try to speak, try to share, right? So that they can understand about where they are and how's their pronunciation, their fluency. But this can't cater all, given the time limitation as well as, really students are at different pacing and level. So the reason that we incorporate such a tool called Reading Progress, it's an AI-driven tool into such a platform, because now self-directed learning will be enabled at home. So I don't really have time to go into how this product looks like, but in short, people can practice at home on their own. And our AI assist teacher will give a score about the accuracy and pointing out what are the mispronunciations and what are the mistakes, giving some basic comments. So their teachers in the classroom, in the physical space, will be able to see a graph, a chart at the back about the accuracy, the performance of their students, the analytics, right? This was not available in the past, but with AI, with this Industry 4.0 technology, right? And with us incorporating into our business decision-making procedure, into our product innovation procedures, right? And now, I believe people are living a better and easier life with these tools supporting them on the learning front. So there are a few more examples, and we can always go back to that if we do have time in the panel discussion session later. But when it comes to the second subject that I was mentioning about, the employment as well, and also the social security, right? This is a highly discussed subject, at least before COVID. And now, to be honest, I'm glad and happy to see that such a conversation of us being replaced by technology is getting lower or less. The reason that I bring in this slide, this is actually a slide I prepared when I was still with LinkedIn, right? Because I did have a lot of data about the hiring trends and plans in Hong Kong. I didn't update it for a reason. This slide was extracted and prepared in 2020 May. And it was a time where discussions on AI, big data, cloud computing wasn't even that big a thing as compared to of now. But back then, the demand and supply balance of such talent was already facing a huge gap. So as you can see from the pictures, right? So if you see a smaller bubble, it means that there is a greater demand than supply. So there were a lot of demands on these talent, but the supply was quite limited. And these are things that we were seeing, right? And they are also bringing a lot of implications to the employment market and the future of skills required in Hong Kong, across the world, across Asia. The reason that I bring in here is that the demand of these talent are not new. It has been here for quite some time. Business, corporates, decision makers have already seen them coming a few years ago at least. So they have been creating the wave. They have been, doing some policy advocacies, doing a lot of training, working very closely with the education segments to plant the seed in grooming and cultivating these talents. But that said, when we look into Industry 4.0, when we are expecting more and more talents to be familiar with AI, big data, cloud computing, we're not just looking for the technical persons. We're looking for people with open mindsets. We're looking for people in our approach. We're looking for people who are willing to bring AI into applications, into process, into every person's. This is what we are referring to as, AI is not just a skill set itself. It's more like a mindset. When you allow when you allow technologies to go into your daily life, and in your business decision-making procedure, right, you are embracing these new elements. So if I might quote our CEO Satya, in his mind, right, he's making every single decisions, if not all, most single decisions for Microsoft. And in his thought process, right, when we are making any product innovation, any decisions in developing a new product or anything, right, rather than thinking in terms of human versus machine, we want to focus on how human gives creativity, empathy, emotion, physicality, and insights can be mixed with power AI computations to help move society forward. So every single company, right, empowered by AI could actually in some way be made as a social enterprise, revenue generating social enterprise to be exact. So this is what we see and how we feel about Industry 4.0 coming into business decisions. So lastly, I also want to emphasize that, in Microsoft, as a person who lead the education here, our goal is that this is also one of the occasions. Through joining these occasions, right, we can help people to understand better about how these technologies, it's actually bringing positive impact to them. And if they do have a bit of understanding of these technology, might not have to go into very technical front, how that can help them in thinking about what they can do to the society. So when it comes to AI education to us, right, it's always AI for good. So there's one example that I feel really proud of recently. And also this is the Microsoft Skills program that we have in place, especially if you are an educator, if you are working in any organization trying to empower the future generation, not only the future generation, but intergeneration as well. So these are some skills programs that we have developed ready to bring everyone on board, not really just on the technical front, but like what I was mentioning, right? More on the mindset front. So I would like to end with a quote as well as an example, right? We have more power at your fingertips than ever before. One of the examples that really proved such a sentence to me recently is, we gave some AI trainings and classes to a local Hong Kong school, secondary school that is in Yunnan. If you know Hong Kong well, that's not the central part, not the central business district part of Hong Kong. We gave them some really basic AI trainings, right? Telling them how AI can be leveraged for good, how AI can be leveraged for solving social issues, social problems. And we gave them this. And it so happens that they had a chance within the school arrangement, right? They head to a farm in their neighborhood to visit, to see, the agriculture industry in Hong Kong. So a feedback and an observation that they saw from that occasion is, the farmers or the farm operators, they had a lot of difficulties in keeping their hairy crab alive. If you know about hairy crab, I don't know. I didn't know until they told me, right? So it requires a very good environment, especially clean waters, to be able to stay alive. But in Hong Kong, which also means that if you are only using, you are only doing that manually, the procedure of cultivating hairy crab manually, you need to be there 24/7 to make sure that there's no external factors or conditions affecting the environment of hairy crab. So what the students got from this session and what they got from the AI training, AI for good training, right? They combine together. They were only in their, I think, Form 4, which is the 4th year of their secondary school. They developed an AI sensor, really only within their team, right? They developed an AI sensor, which can be placed into this water environment and can automatically collect data about the water quality, automatically inform the owner of these crab what decisions that they should make and what action that they should take, so that it makes it possible for more people to keep and grow and cultivate, and run this hairy crab business in Hong Kong. So this is one of the very many examples that we see about, how Industry 4.0 technologies, including AI, make technologies accessible to every single industries, and it make things really easier. And it also inspire and, spark people's thought process when it comes to solving problems. So with that, I would like to, pass the time back to Irene, and happy to share more in the later discussion.
Thank you, Ivan. I like the hairy crab story. And I think some of us might want to know, which farm you're talking about. We're all very interested in that. So Karen, over to you. Last but not least, tell us about a bit about your role in Hong Kong PC and Hong Kong, and also, the your views on future work.
Thank you, Irene, and thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karen Fong. I'm the General Manager of Innopreneur and Future Skills of the Hong Kong Productivity Council. So a bit of background about the Hong Kong Productivity Council first, in case you don't know what it does. Although it's been here for over 55 years, actually. So a glance of what we do. We're here now for we are on our 55th year anniversary, and then we do 90% of our projects that are in industrial and service applications. We have 23 board members, and 28% of what we generate, our own income, is from the government subvention. And about 70% of it would come from our project income. And then 61% of our clients are SMEs in Hong Kong, and others would be the bigger corporates or government departments. And then we do local procurement. 90% of them are from local procurement, and 75% actually are from the SMEs here in Hong Kong. We do over 700 technical projects a year, and we have 850 staff over, and then 4 offices in GBA, that's including 2 offices here in Hong Kong, 1 in Science Park, and our headquarters is in Kowloon Town. And 3 main areas of what we do is one, we do definitely on technology transformation, is on I 4.0, Industry 4.0, or Enterprise 4.0, E 4.0. And then we do green tech solutions. And in the middle, we do a lot of really on the training and development of people to learn about the new skills, technology skills. And then the other part of us will be on government funding, because we are the secretariat of over 10 government fundings here in Hong Kong. And we do all the technical vetting as well. So this is an overview of what our technical areas and our support areas are. We do a lot of intelligent manufacturing consultations. We're helping companies here in Hong Kong to upgrade their production line with also reindustrialization of made in Hong Kong. And also we have smart and green solutions for a lot of different projects. And then future skills is also part of our core services here. And then digitalization and cybersecurity, definitely when we do I 4.0 or when we do a lot of digital transformation, we will teach companies how to upgrade on their security levels, and also how to integrate the right systems into their business operations. And then, of course, we do support SMEs and startups here in Hong Kong. So under HKPC, we have the HKPC Academy, which is under my supervision. A bit of background about about my role, because my role as the title is Innopreneur and Future Skills. So Innopreneur, the part on Innopreneur is we promote innovations and technologies to the local SMEs. And then the other part, Future Skills, is we also promote what skills that are needed for the future, and we promote corporate training and also STEM education to the schools as well. So actually, last year we did a survey on the future of work and skills, because in the midst of the pandemic, we understand that there's a lot of changing work environments, market needs. And so we wanted to examine what are the expectations and pain points of the employers and employees given the changing work environment. And so I have extracted here some of the more relevant figures of today's topic. So in that survey, actually 82% of those employees surveyed think that there's a need for them to upskill their IT knowledge and digital skills. And then, so they recognize that there's a need for them to train, to get more training. But then also around that percentage, a large percentage of them also expect that the companies would provide this kind of training. So they would expect the companies to invest in this kind of training. But about more than half of the people in the employment or the employers or the management level surveyed said they planned to provide such digital skills training to their employees. So for the management, they also realized that there's such a skills gap in their business operation. And then to look closer to some of the surveys just recently in the fourth quarter of the year, we saw that there's surveys talking about from a headhunting company that Hong Kong's IT talent gap will reach 100,000 in the next 5 years. So this is particularly on the INT sector. And then on another survey, it says that 56% of IT decision makers view a shortage of personnel with IT skills as being one of the main threats to their business. So it's actually now it's coming to affect their businesses here with not enough people with the right skills. And then another interesting fact is that it says 85% of Asia Pacific businesses are thinking of reskilling their IT workers. So we're talking about not upskilling, we're talking about reskilling. So we're talking about training up people that may not be in the IT field before, but that because of the new roles emerge, we need to train up people who are not already or originally in focus on that area to train into their new roles because of the lack of or shortage of talent. And then here's another survey that we did recently with the SMEs here locally in Hong Kong. And we asked that what do they expect to maintain or increase in their investment. And still, a lot of them answer that on the top 5 list, 2 of them is about training. So one is related to training on e-commerce and technology skills, digital technology skills, and the other is on training on general staff skills. So we understand that one is to address the skills gap, and the other could be that more of the companies would like to use training to retain that talent. So at the HAPC Academy, we focus now on future skills, and then we also develop this framework for companies to understand, so what kind of skills that they need to train up their people, or for employees to understand what kind of skills they need. So I agree with Ivan just now, is that we know that there are a lot of emerging technologies like AI, ABCD, the AI, the big data, the cloud technology and all that. But we're not asking people to suddenly all go into IT and learn all the IT skills in depth and get all the certificates. But we're asking people to start integrating these skills, to learn about these skills, how these skills can integrate into their work. And then in the middle circle, the middle layer, we have is the application skills. We want people to, after understanding the basic of these skills, to actually learn how these skills can apply to their work. So apply in finance field, maybe apply in marketing, in e-commerce, in general project management. And in the middle, we also want people to understand that they cannot forget about is the soft skills side, because we always hear about employers saying they want people with creativity. They want people to be agile, to be able to solve problems, to be able to communicate well. So these kind of skills are the human side that we cannot neglect, and also we need to focus as well. So we created this framework to make sure that people understand that these are the future skills, and these are not just the technology skills that we need to upskill our employees. And so we collaborate with different parties. We also collaborate with tech companies to really push this message out. And we do regular digital training and other soft skills training programs with government departments and NGOs and schools as well. So just a glance of the numbers we did. For last year, we trained up over 30,000 employees or students. And then we did over 700 programs a year, and 150 of them are RTT approved. I will explain a little bit later what RTT approved programs are. And actually 90% of them received really excellent feedback from the participants. So here a bit more about the RTTP, which is the Reindustrialization and Technology Training Program. It's a program funded under the ITIB, the Industrial Innovation and Industry Technology Bureau. And then it's actually a funding to allow companies, any companies with the business registration, to acquire training for their staff, which is they have an annual funding of up to 500,000 a year. And the matching is 2-to-1 matching, so it's about the matching is about 75% are reimbursable by the government. So for these programs, we are one of the actually the biggest as a provider of these kind of training, because we do train. It's not just any technology skills, but all the emerging and not so much largely available technology skills. And actually, companies can look for these kind of trainings to help train up their colleagues with the government funding support. And these are just a glance of just now the popular topics among those 3 areas. And then we also partner with like Huawei and Google Cloud as their training partner as well in delivering some of these technology trainings. And apart from that, we also provide a vLearn, a virtual learning portal, because we understand that learning is no longer just face-to-face or a very classroom type of training, because employees now have the expectation of more flexible learning, and also they want localized content. So with Hong Kong, although being a very small market, we are serving Hong Kong companies mainly. So that's why we do tailor-made special localized content to allow employees to learn online anytime, anywhere. And we give them out their own individual learning progress, a report, and also we give them recognitions to encourage them to self-learn. And then apart from that, we also encourage them to learn technologies in a fun way. So we provide a playful performance series, which allowed employees to learn new technologies while having in a fun and team building way. And then they can at least know how these technologies work, and then perhaps to how these can integrate into their work and how they can do group projects, etc. So these are because of our facilities, we do allow these kind of diverse training programs to facilitate these kind of diverse programs in our facilities. So also a little bit about startups, how we support startups. We do startups networking events, because we do have a network of startups within our membership. And then we do STEM education and schools as well, because we understand that when we want talent, we need to build them from the early age. So that's why we want to address to the schools and also to the parents how important it is to really get their students to learn about what technology is about and the career prospects of different fields that they will enter into in the future. So this is my last slide about our internship. We also do internship programs. We have 2 intakes a year. About 80 positions or placements are given out, and to local and also overseas university students. And these students, they are not all technology students or engineer students. Actually, it's across all different kinds of disciplines, as long as they show the passion to learn. And we want to show them what working in an R&D company is like, and what Industry 4.0 is, how we do manufacturing here in Hong Kong. We want to show them, the different R&D experience, and also we give them job shadowing, we give them field trips, and also some trainings, and in the end, they need to do a project themselves as well. So this is how we groom our future talent. So that's all I can share.
Thank you, Karen. Such a comprehensive offering from the Hong Kong Productivity Council. And you are absolutely running like an academy. So thank you for all the individual sharing. We now come to the panel discussion. I also want to encourage those who are with us here in person and also online. If you have any questions, feel free to just keep it either submit it through online, but also we will have a Q&A session for those who are in person that we will save some time at the end. So I want to bring back, so yeah, Jamie and Yaman are here. I want to just come back to Yaman. Having heard from all the speakers talking about the digital skills, the industry 4.0, right, the talent gap, what's your thoughts also, especially because World Economic Forum, you are doing a lot of research, you collaborate with so many different stakeholders. The impact of all of these, we can call it digital transformation happening in our society. What is the impact you see, right? Especially, we are also entering into a kind of an era where they're aging, right? Our society is also aging, and you got new skills and all the changes.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. So let me continue my introduction because I have some slides that is sharing and response to these questions. So as you maybe know that between 2 or 3 years, we have our annual report relevant to jobs. That the latest one is the 2020. So you know that there's a two major international influencers for the future jobs. The current one is the COVID. The longer one, we call it the fourth industrial revolution. So in short, is that IoT, AI, blockchain, and also the other technologies, we call it digital technologies, can influence the society a lot. So that's why in these two contexts, we see that report reflect a lot of things. Share something with you in key points I think is very important. By the way, the report you can download on our website freely. So what do we see that there is a bigger amount of new jobs created in the future 5 years, we see, or maybe 3 years by 2025, and also a lot of traditional jobs where we are considered that disappear. So what do we say? Firstly, is that the digitalization, automation is the big need for the job market. We can see that the growing jobs demand, all relevant to ABCDE, right? So this is what we know for clear. Secondly, is that if we see that side from the right hand, is that there's there's a job that need heavy human labor power and also replicated work that will be replaced quickly by AI or robots, so on. So this is very certain as well. So the third one is that younger people still have time and energy to learn something new. Just Karen mentioned there's new trainings and also from Jam's point of view, there's a lot of new trainings in job or outside of job, so it's okay. But for the low wage people, low salary people, women, and also the young workers, the blue collars will get a bigger impact because their job will be replaced, will get very weak competitive power in the future. So this is what we during our reflection. And you know, also one is that during every industry revolution, so now we're in the fourth wave. During every wave, there is a more job opportunities we are bring. So from macro point of view, we need to keep ourselves optimized, right? But from micro point of view, people will be impacted in different way. So we will share a different journey. And in the future, though there's a gap between different people and bigger, until when? Until recently, this generation will retire from the job market. And then the entire new generation will adapt the technology, I mean, digital technology, AI or robots, so on. So that will take 20 or 30 years. So now it's just maybe just 5 years on the journey. So still 20 or 25 years to go. So this is what I want to share with you, the first thing. The second thing, okay, you see that during COVID, a lot of people working at home, right? I'm the one of the one of them. Even if now I still locked down at my home, so participate into meetings, work collaborations will be all online. People will get use of it, and also my son is studying at home for a long time already. So it's maybe it's you don't want that, but it happened. How say that the digital infrastructure, ICT connection to support that, so that remotely co-work and also remotely education and trainings. So this is the base that we see from technology point of view, that remote work, online collaboration will be the future, trend, right? And according to that is that a lot of new opportunities were generated online, because from the with the development of AI or AR technology, 3D modeling, a lot of jobs will be easily to generated, and also have more collaboration with strangers, with the team in Beijing, in Singapore, in Mumbai, in New York. The team maybe never met before, but they can cooperate together with a perfect team, right? So we can see it's like that. Robots. So robots use is quite recent things. In the recent 2 or 3 years, we see a lot of robots, not just in the factory, but also in the hotel. Service robots, lock your door. You need something, and here is it. In the restaurant, even if in the small restaurant nearby my house, we have some service robots as well. Why is that? Because firstly, the robots using cost is dropped down dramatically, and also another thing is that during COVID, a lot of jobs just is a lot of people can't find the right people to work for them. So this is a lot of conflict between them, but also the new opportunities. So I see that robots or other intelligent machines will appear besides you a lot in the future. But it's not the end of the story. But we can see that something is not replaceable by the AI or machine, right? What kind of jobs is still there? I think that the jobs relevant to people, serve people's needs, need people's emotional services that will stay along. I give you a joke is that I don't expect my son to get a big scientist, but if he can be a good hair cutter, or could be a good cook, or a good therapist, that would be good, because people need people to comfort each other, to give the services, right, by humans' hearts, humans' mindset, so on. That's at this stage AI cannot replace, right? So a lot of job is still there. You can find your own expertise. You can find your own domain, and don't fight with the digitalization. Align with it, use it as a tools, right? So this is what I want to share.
Thank you.
And also some of them will be the developer of these digital tools. For example, some of them will be a kind of architecture for the digital framework, or data policy policy maker, or kind of a digital asset management experts, so on, or just develop the AI algorithm, or software, hardware. So you can, both two sides, still a lot of job to do, right? So this is what I see from this one. Okay, 10 skills by 2025. But some of them also, you can see that some of them is based on the digitalization. You want to maintain, you want to handle the new know-how, new technologies, programming, or kind of a digital mindset, whatever. But some of them never changes. What about it? Teamwork, collaboration, right? Leadership, influence power. That things never changes. Even if back to the 19th, the skills still there. Even if go to 30 years later, the skills still needed by the market. So don't be anxious about 10 skills, 15 skills. Some of them already there, or some of them you need that forever. So don't be panic about it. And you need to grab this kind of digital tools or opportunities to find your own expertise, or to be a person needed by different people. So just the one thing I want to share with you, if you can see that a lot of the new jobs created from the internet. For example, if in the metaverse, right, people are using their digital ID and the digital face, there's new jobs that the person will make the face, digital face for you, right? It's a kind of cartoon face, but relevant to you. It's a very unique one. They can earn a lot of money. This is a new jobs created every day. So we can see that a lot of skills, a lot of new opportunities happens. That's one mention. And also, I think the last one I want to share with you is that all the employers feel that the power and also the impact from digitalization. So the enterprise is always willing to invest a lot into human resources, human powers, to foster more digital talents. And we say that the good news is that you don't need to understand the whole structure of the digitalization, how to programming, so on, but consider the digital application as a tool, right? Just like Karen mentioned also. So what do we say that 1 to 7 months, you can get some of the basic knowledge of these tools and you use it into the job. So there's the education layers that I see that the first is that school students education is the fundamentally that people or the children can understand what is the digitalization means, right? What is the common logic, or what is tools they can use? And then there's the on-job training, right? And the third one is that your self-learning that make yourself more different, right? You always find your own position, and more than ever in this area that you can find your own value and find your own way to make money. Self-employees, freelancers will be appears more and more because they can use the digital tools a lot in their jobs. Well, thank you very much for
Thank you, Yaman. No, I think this is I like the point about sort of, I think that there's a change in the way how employees and staff are working now. You're not just continuing doing your job and mastering that. Actually, there's a requirement and also pressure, right? You have to continue to learn. And as an employer, you have to create an environment and opportunity for your staff to actually continuously learning. Given the interest of time, I'm going to ask some questions, but I would ask all the panelists to keep your response really short and brief. Jamie, just quickly, because Yaman was talking about, right, freelancers, and you're expert in gig economy and gig workers. A bit about, if you can share your way, you did talk about creating the right environment, right, for your gig economy workers and partners. But could you also talk about how does work look to them, right? Because they're maybe doing, spending 2 days, right, doing as a partnering drivers, but they also may be spending another day doing something else, maybe a software developers. And how do you actually manage a workforce where they might not be, right, 100% your employees, but also secondly, productivity, because you and I chatted about productivity, and does it need a new definition, right? Because we used to look for a staff to come in, right, 8 to 5. I can see you coming in here, so I believe that you're doing your work. Now it's very difficult and very different.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question, Irene. I think that's you pointed out really the heart of the difference between, I guess, freelancers versus an employee. They can turn on the app to take jobs whenever they want and stop turning on or be on multiple apps at a go, in fact. And that's the reality we deal with. I suppose maybe just to share a few examples of how we've tried to innovate and think of ways of addressing needs of gig economy workers given a unique construct. So I'll give you a few examples. One of it is access to insurance. So for example, in Malaysia, as part of a regulatory requirement that if you're going to be a ride-hailing driver, you need to purchase ride-hailing insurance. But we know that gig economy workers don't drive full-time as a job, right? So what we did was to work with insurance partners to innovate a product whereby they can pay per day when they log onto the app to get insurance coverage. So this is an example of how we're trying to work around the needs of gig workers, new work behavioral patterns to adjust the way they need to incur expense for the work they do as well. So there's one example. Another one is on upskilling. So I heard, I guess, a lot of interest and challenge in upskilling. And I think the same question is also faced in the gig workforce. And some examples of some practical things we've been trying to work with partners, right, is that we do partnerships with other organizations to offer upskilling to gig workers. In Singapore, for example, we try to share feedback to the course organizers on which are, I suppose, off-peak times or lower demand times where there potentially will be more gig workers available and to take up courses, right? Because when there's a lot of demand, that's when they likely want to be working. So this is examples of some insights. And then in Thailand as well, we did some analysis to say, hey, actually, when can people learn? And then we found a spot, which is that actually, when people are doing deliveries, when they're at the merchants, they are sometimes waiting for the food. So if we go and analyze what's the average waiting time, which is a few minutes, how can we make some content bite-sized to get their attention, to get them to pick up things in small bite-sized pieces? So these are just little ways in which we're trying to find solutions in the context of a gig workforce. And I think this could potentially be also ways where we can apply that in the non-gig workforce way. Because I think in the gig workforce, flexible gig economy structure, we are faced with constraints and very unique situations, which forces us to innovate. And potentially it's how you can expand the spirit to other employees as well.
Thank you, Jamie. And just on that, I don't know, Ivan, you want to share your thoughts here?
Yeah, I feel like to jump in as well, because I think the emerging of gig economy as an individual working in a corporate, in a pretty scalable corporate, I think we do see the impact of gig economy bringing to us as well. So Jamie was mentioning about how their relationship with the employees, right? So Irene also mentioned traditionally relationship between employees and employers are actually bound by the hours, right? So your contract says that you need to go to office 8 to 5. So that's how we compensate you, that the base that we make compensations. But now we're also seeing changes. As a manager myself, as an individual working in a huge organizations, right? We are becoming more, we embrace remote working. We embrace a hybrid working environment that we can work from anywhere. So in these situations, right, we're fine-tuning quite a bit on how we measure employee performance, right? How can we fine-tune that to be more result-driven so that the relationship between employees and employers are not the hours, but the deliveries, right? The deliverables, to be exact. So what the value that you're bringing to the company, how we can actually measure that. So this is one of the things, right? So the second thing that I would like to bring in is actually on Jamie was mentioning about the importance of providing trainings to the gig workers so that can retain them, right? The same is actually happening in the corporate. We provide training a lot because we want to make sure that we have a lot of internal mobilities that can be activated and allowed for our employees. So we compete talents as well. When people look at the gig marketplace, I mean, naturally, people get jealous of the flexibility of working hours and benefits that a company like Grab is actually providing. So we want to make sure that whenever someone is feeling lost in their current position, right, they have the right resources for them to find or locate a new opportunity within the same organizations, right? So that's what we see about future of work. The relationship between employers and employees are becoming different. And employers dedicate to be investing into their employees because they see the value out of it for the organizations. So I just feel like to add, onto these questions as well.
Thank you, Ivan. And I think it's a fair point, right? It's you want some flexibility, but at the same time, how can you ensure that you are really producing, right, and doing what you're supposed to do, and I think this brings to sort of my next question. And for bigger company with a lot more resources, more forward thinking, they probably would be a bit flexible, right? They will introduce, and even KPMG will introduce the agile working arrangements. But Karen, you work with a lot of SMEs. My question for you is, when it comes to embracing new way of working, digital transformation, besides the skills, what really do you see some of the barriers maybe for a company to kind of move forward, right? And actually be a champion for innovation. And we heard a lot about innovation and change.
Yes, Irene, we do hear about a lot, from the SMEs on the challenges they face with the new economy and how they can attract new talents because of the new demand of the employees now. And actually, a lot of the SMEs, they face the challenge of investing more in the infrastructure because they have been doing well for so long, and all of a sudden they need to change. They need to invest more in their IT infrastructures, their equipment, or they even need to hire, a certain technical expertise to help them integrate with some of the digital solutions. So actually, from HKPC, what our role is to enable them to do this, to go through this digital transformation and to provide them with relevant solutions. So actually, earlier this year, we launched a digital DIY platform for the SMEs, whereby actually Microsoft is also a very keen supporter of this platform as well. So we actually, it's like a marketplace. We put up lots of really off-the-shelf, easy to use, easy applicable solutions for the SMEs, smaller companies to go have a look, and also to give them examples of successful user cases so that they know that they need to change, they need to transform, and because of the changes in their customers and because of the changes in the market and also in their employees, so they need to make these kind of changes. So we're hoping that this digital DIY, actually you all can search for it. It's free, it's open, to actually create this an environment or sentiment for the SMEs with fewer resources to learn about what assistance that they can get from the market.
Great. Thank you, Karen. So for those who are with us online and also here, feel free to chime in if you have any questions. I think you can raise your hand, and then someone will bring you the microphone. I want to make sure that we give time for the audience to ask questions.
Thank you for all your wonderful sharing. I have a question for Ivan. And it's very exciting that you share an example of engaging a student from secondary school, and quickly they can apply what they learn to a real life challenge. As you know, Asia is aging rapidly at the same time that we have a shrinking workforce. So I just want to know about your idea and thought in terms of how to engage a mature worker, then how they can benefit from the AI technology, because as you say, it's not only a skill set, it's also the mindset change. But most of the time, they already have a way of working. They are not really like a student trying to learn. So it's very different. The audience, they have a different background, but it's very important to engage them in the age society as well. So I would be very curious about your idea. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your question. So I think so first, to begin with, right? I think we try to advocate and promote our resources, learning materials, or the way that we think about AI, the way we think about technologies to the community, which it's not limited to the younger community, but also, people of different age, different seniorities. In the very recent cases, that was delivered, online by Satya, right? We actually support a pretty senior woman at the age of 80 to transform herself. She was laid off. I'm not quite sure why she was still at work at such an age to begin with. But when she was laid off, right, she actually came to Microsoft where we gave them resources about some local development. Then she transformed or equipped herself to be a freelancer in app development. So that's a true case that allows us to see the potentials out of people at every single age. But of course, like what you were saying, right? We do think that people who are still at school are more open to learning new stuff. People who are already at work or even, in senior positions, right? They're more reluctant to be learning new things. So that's why we start with communities at school, because we think students can bring a great influence. Students are part of a family, right? They can bring these kind of things back to their families where their parents, people in their families might be able to be influenced by those things, influenced by those ideas. We don't expect them to be technical. We don't expect students to be technicals when we bring all of these to them as well. We expect that these can help them to be more open-minded when it comes to thinking about a solution for every single thing. So speaking of people who are relatively senior, the way that we see it is, I kind of assume that they would receive more benefit from AI innovation as well, but there would also be technology that are actually helping them and supporting them at their age. We want them to see the good out of these technology at first. So that's why we develop a lot of technologies. It's not just for the elderly, but for different communities. Develop a lot of technologies to allow people to see the benefit out of these technology first. So as we turn them into a beneficiaries, right? As we turn them into an individual with experience, seeing the good out of AI or out of any of these kind of Industry 4.0 technologies, right? We hope that through this experience, they would be more open-minded in the long run. Not that they would turn technical, but in their decision-making procedures, if they're in great positions, right, they will allow more of these ideas and embrace more of these innovation coming from the younger generations. So that's the relationship that we want to build in between. But to achieve that, to scale up the penetrations of AI for good or technologies that were developed based on AI, but it's actually doing for good. It's something very important for us. So if this thing has a very good perspective in the community and society, right? So we think that will create more momentum and a wave for the adoptions from the mindset perspective.
Okay, thank you, Ivan. We do have a question from online audience, and actually it's connected to this question that you just answered. The future of work topic is no longer new or innovative, and the ongoing challenges in adopting working from home is typically, or future of work is based on the power of trust or lack of between the employer and the talent. So what are your views on the road of having trust? And because we talk about the skills needed, the technologies, the environment, the policy, but actually this is the intangible aspect of making future of work actually work. So Yaman, I know you need to rush off to another panel. Do you want to say a few words before you leave?
Yeah, thank you, Erin. I think that the mentioned question is very interesting. This is a new job opportunity, right? Remotely working places, how to make people trust each other and how to make the right HR policy, also how to generate teamwork, even if you are far from each other and so on. What is the law framework that are generated according to the digitalization, so on. This is a kind of new jobs, right? It's a new opportunity we see. So several things I want to share with you. First type is that you know each other, right? You can see you are a freelancer and you just have a very simple contract to protect each other. This is one thing. Another thing is that it's just a self-organized job that kind of people don't have centralized organizations, but they trust each other already. The third one is the pure strangers working together, and there's a team leader, and also they never know each other, but there's a kind of a new how's the norm of the work, and also the relevant to HR policy, to legal framework that can bring more trust between strangers, between each other. I think that it's already happened, right? Outsourced our work from US to India, from US to Hong Kong, from China mainland to other places that are always there. So I don't think that is a new challenges, but I see there's the more and more often we need that. This is kind of new job market, right? That's what I want to say.
Right. What about sort of quickly, Jamie, right? Because you're probably dealing with this every day.
Yeah, I think actually I want to refer to, I think what Ivan said earlier as well when he jumped into the question. It's great, which is the point about what do we hire people to do work for? It's more of the output, the outcome they're trying to deliver. And I think if there's more conversation and more understanding shifted towards that, potentially it can be used to establish trust. Because if people trust that you can deliver something, then there's less concern about, do I have to monitor you all the time? You have to be in the office in order to deliver that. And I think if I look at some learnings and reflections about why gig work, at least on the experience on our platform, has been able to do that, is because if you've managed to deliver something, you've managed to fetch a passenger to a certain point, the task is completed, and people therefore don't have biases in allowing very old people to take up the jobs, people who have different education qualifications take up the jobs, because you trust that a certain task can be done. And so how do we then take that spirit and help people understand that, hey, actually we're clear on what needs to be done, and the person that we're working with, whether employee or is it freelancer, is able to help you understand that, yeah, they will be able to get that done. Then we can build trust around the outcome rather than the process of the face time.
Yes. Thank you, Jamie. I know we are at the top of the hour, so I think we have to wrap this up. But we have so much to talk about, but unfortunately, time is limited. But I really appreciate the questions, but also our speakers. I'd like to thank them for all your insights. If I could just make a quick kind of wrap up of our discussion today. We talk a lot about future work, about the skills we need, but a lot of it also is about your mindset, right? Not necessarily just a skill set. And as much as the talk about AI replacing jobs, actually the new jobs are created are more than the jobs that are decreasing, right? That's the good news. And I think it's about embracing change. How can we also make our society and business more resilient as we go through these changes? It is down to the employer setting the right policies, the conditions, giving them access to benefits, no matter what mode of work they are. I learned that from Jamie. And I think also the upskilling, right? Karen spent a lot of time helping companies to actually upskill their staff. Eventually, the leadership needs to be ready for that change. So I hope you all enjoyed the panel discussion, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Yaman. Thank you, Jamie.